So good morning. Maybe the class today is going to be a little bit shorter. We're just going to see the last part of chapter Aleph, the first chapter. That is only a few verses, but there is some things to say about them. It's what we call Kinat David, the Lament of David, or David's Lament. Lament, you say? That's the way? Lament of David on Shaul and Jonathan and Am Israel. So what we saw was that Shaul fell in the battle together with Jonathan, his other two sons, Malkishua and Avinadav, and many of Am Israel, while David was in the south. And then when the news arrived to him, he killed the messenger. and then it says that he said this poetry, this song on Shaul and Jonathan. Here is translated as this dirge. Dirge? Yeah. So I want first to reject two narratives in the academic research about that. One I will say right now, and one a little bit later. Not all the academies, some researchers. So some say that all the context of this chapter, in the beginning, what he did with the Amalekite young boy or young man, and that he killed him, and the way he spoke about Shaul, and this kina that he's singing here, all is for political reasons. David is going to, we're going to see, we can see that in the context of the next chapters, 4 or 5 chapters, after the death of Shaul, the transferring of the kingdom of the power to David wasn't smooth at all. There was actually war for a few years between the heirs of Shaul and David. So it wasn't easy. And he needed to show to everybody, he needed to make like political moves to attract people from the other side. So maybe the tribe of Yehuda will be with David for all the way, but the other tribes, and mainly Binyamin, won't be with David. They will be with Shaul, apparently. Or with not with Shaul himself, because he died, but with the heir of Shaul, which will be his other son that survived. So David has to show everybody that he is not against Shaul, that he wants them with him, he wants to attract people and to unite everybody around his leadership, and that's the reason he's doing all of that. So I don't think it's true. So maybe David should do that also, but it's not the main reason for his actions. It's really look honest. And the song, the lament that we are going to see is very emotional. It's really hard to fake such things, I believe. It became very famous in Israel, as I told you last time, in all the ceremonies of the Yom HaZikaron, the Memorial Day for the soldiers. Almost always this is read because it's so powerful and it's so honest. She's joining now. Sorry, Meital, we started a little bit early. 2 minutes. No, you're not losing that. So anyway, to say that all of that was for political reason, I don't think. Just honest reading of the verses show you that it's honest, it's emotional, it's real. It's not something that you are faking. So this is a comment that I want to say before start reading the Kina. Now let's read. First we will read all of it, and then after that again verse by verse. So and David intoned this dirge over Shaul and his son Jonathan. He ordered the Judaitess to be taught the songs of the bow. It is recorded in the book of Yashar. Your glory, O Israel, lies slain on your heights. How have the mighty fallen? Tell it not in Gath, do not proclaim it in the streets of Ashkelon. Lest the daughters of the Plishtim rejoice, lest the daughters of the uncircumcised exult. O hills of Gilboa, let there be no dew or rain on you. or bountiful fields, for the shields of warriors lay rejected, the shields of Shaul, polished with oil no more. From the blood of slain, from the fat of warriors, the bow of Jonathan never turned back, the sword of Shaul never withdraw empty. Shaul and Jonathan, beloved and cherished, never parted, in life or in death. They were swifter than eagles, they were stronger than lions. Daughters of Israel, weep over Shaul, who clothed you in crimson and finery, who decked your robes with jewels of gold. How have the mighty fallen in the thick of battle, Jonathan slain Jonathan, stand on your heights. I grieve for you, my brother Jonathan, you were most dear to me. Your love was wonderful to me more than the love of women. How have the mighty fallen, the weapon of war perished? So you know that, you heard that before, I guess. You were then, or some of the terms.
Well, I remember when I was in the army, we had a memorial service for the men who were killed in our unit. And the chaplain had taken from this.
The non-Jewish chaplain.
No, he was Jewish.
He was Jewish.
Jewish, yeah. Non-Jewish. So he took this and he modified it.
Yeah.
I remember we were out, they had blocked off the streets in New York City where our unit was. And he had a loudspeaker and was reading it.
Yeah. Okay. So I read a lot of it, but I'm going to see that a little bit more with details. I just want to add another point that made by Rav Meidan. Rav Meidan point out on the big difference between the way Shaul is described in the verses. If you just read the Bible naked without any interpretation or something, you will get a very negative impression on Shaul. A lot of mistakes, things that he did that were very cruel and not logical, and it looks like really bad impression. But if you look on Shaul, on the words of the sages, I mentioned that before, he always mentioned as a tzaddik, as a righteous, in many aspects more than David.
Even though he killed them.
For all of the things that we saw, again, if you just read the verses, look like a wicked person, killed people, I mean, many, many bad things. If you read in the words of the sages, he was is considered righteous. And I said, again, in some aspects more than David. Because David is compared because the sin of Bathsheba, that we're going to see later in this book, to the sins of Shaul. And there were other mistakes of David, and Chachamim say Shaul made only one mistake, and it cost him a lot. David made many mistakes, and it didn't cost him so much. So there is some kind of comparison that favor Shaul more than David, even though, again, when you read the verses, it doesn't look like that. And Rav Meidan said, so he pointed out on this gap, and he said that maybe the key to understand this gap is in this poetry, in the Kinat David. Because he said that this changed all the perspectives that you see all the stories. He also used the Lord Sefer Divrei Yamim, Chronicles, that repeat some of the stories, and there are some details over there that we didn't read in our book. So it's also important to understand that there is a complementary part of all these stories. And he said that in this Kinah, we can see generally two things. First, the success of Shaul of transforming Am Israel from a weak, controlled nation that was controlled by the Plishtim from the times of Shimshon, right? Many generations before. And it's in the beginning of the kingdom of Shaul, they didn't even have a sword. It says that only Shaul and Jonathan had a sword, because all the rest of there was a control of weapon by the Plishtim. They couldn't produce any weapon in the places of Am Israel, and they were wicked and persecuted, etc. And Shaul transferred all of that and made Am Israel an empire. So there are some sources, again, Divrei Yamim, that show that they arrive until the Prat. You know the Prat, the how is it called in English? It's the river in Iraq, the Paris? No.
Between Syria and Iraq.
Yeah, the big river in the east.
Euphrates?
What?
Euphrates?
Yeah, Euphrates. Yeah. So that the tribe of Reuven, for example, it says that he arrived until there, very, very far in the east. So it's a huge empire. So they still had problem here, problem there, but and also we saw in our book in Sefer Shmuel Aleph that Shaul could overcome all the enemies around Israel. So he had a big success, and we see that here in the description of how strong he was in the battle, and also a verse that it says here about the daughters, right? So daughters of Israel weep over Shaul who clothes you in crimson and finery. What does it mean? Economic success. Not only he made Israel strong, he also made Israel rich. Some say so it's like the bottom of the battle, so it brought from the battles. But be it one way or another, is describing here a very strong, successful, rich, wealthy country. All that made by Shaul. So this is in the national aspect. And then in the personal aspect, we see that Shaul and Jonathan were very loved by the people. We can see again in the next chapter that even though all the failures of Shaul, it was really hard to separate Am Yisrael from his hair. Most of Am Yisrael was after the hair of Shaul, not after David. It took years until David got all Am Yisrael under his government, right? So we can see that, for example, in this verse that it says, Shaul and Jonathan beloved and cherished. Right, so so this is change the aspect in the two levels, in the national level, the success of Am Yisrael, and in the personal level. It wasn't that because of the last years of the craziness of Shaul or something that he became someone that everybody ate. He was loved and cherished in his life, as David say here. Okay, so this is like another general comment. So we say until now that this song is not for political reasons. And it show, and it's honest and genuine in the meaning that it really reflects the emotions of David and also the emotion of Am Yisrael. Right? Am Yisrael felt, at least according to what David say, these feelings towards Shaul and Jonathan and his kingdom. So we start with the first verse we already talked about. It says here, and David intoned this dirge, so we understand that verse 18, it's already part of this dirge, but some others say it's not, it's like a title, it's before the song itself. It's not, the purpose of this song is to educate Am Yisrael about the importance of the military power, right? That you have to defend yourself, you have to have the military power, so that it's to teach. If you translate again, the translation here, it's a certain interpretation of this verse. If you go literally what it means, it said that it's important to teach the sons of Yehuda the art of the bow, something like that. The bow or bow? Bow. We mentioned that some of the Mefarshim say that because Jonathan fell and the people of Binyamin were expert in that, so now we are missing these soldiers. We are missing these people that were expert in the using of the bow, the snipers. The snipers of Binyamin were missing, so we need now the son of Yehuda to take this job on themselves. They should also learn how to use a bow, like the Binyamin knew. I think it's out of context here. The literal or the simple understanding meaning that in order to teach Am Yisrael the power of the bow, the power of the importance of the army, you should speak about those who fell and the legend, you say, מורשת שלהם, their inheritance, their legacy, right? That's the word. So you have to teach Am Yisrael the legacy of the sons of fallen. So in order to teach the sons of Yehuda the importance of the bow, I'm going to do this lament that praise these people, right? David, Shaul, and Jonathan. It is recorded in the book of Yeshar. We mentioned that the book of Yeshar, it's not very clear what does it mean. Some Mefarshim say it used to be another book that we don't have today, that it was lost. And it looks like this song had a longer version. It's just the heart of it. It has a longer version. So let's start now. At Tzvi Israel. At Tzvi Israel, the word tzvi, usually we use it as it's a name of an animal. The one who's running on the
A deer.
no, deer is ayal.
Yes.
It's bigger. Tzvi is smaller. It's a small one who is running tzvi Eretz Israeli. Maybe I try to show you.
What?
Maybe.
We always thought it was deer. Tzvi is deer. It could be tzvi or ayal. The deer is probably. Oh, maybe you talk about Jazel.
Jazer is ayala. It's tactile.
Like the,
Antelope.
what's the family that impala must go
Beauty.
mountain called beauty or
Here, this one. This is tzvi. This is tzvi in Eretz Israel. It's called tzvi Eretz Israeli. The tzvi from Eretz Israel.
The desert.
yeah.
Yeah, so it's not deer, right? This is not deer. No.
The same family as impala, dogs, and
Gazelle, maybe also use that. Yeah. Gazelle.
yeah.
Okay.
Oh, here.
Here, what I'm doing.
Ibex is in there.
Huh?
Ibex is in the same family.
Yeah, I don't know the words in English for that. Here,
Antelope.
gazelle. It says gazelle here. Gazelle. Okay, gazelle. Anyway, this is the tzvi in Eretz Israel, but so many things that this is a meaning here, like the gazelle, who is very fast animal. So it's like a question: are you like a gazelle that run away? This is are you like a gazelle Israel who is run away from the battle because many are slain in the heights? Right? So this is one way of reading it, but the simplest is like the translation here. The word tzvi, like tzvi tifara, is also something beautiful or something good. Or in some ancient languages of the song, tzvi or tvi is like a noble person. So according to that, at Tzvi Israel, I'm talking to the noble people of Am Israel, or about or on the noble people of Am Israel, which are the Shaul and Yonatan, so that were slain on the heights. Al bamotecha halal. It's interesting because the last words of Moshe Rabbeinu were ve'ata al bamotemo tidroch. The same. So in the blessing of Moshe to Am Israel in the end of his life, he blessed them also that he will step on the heights of your enemy. So David starts here like in the failure. The blessing didn't come true. It didn't happen what Moshe blessed Am Israel, that you will step on the heights of your enemy. Here, the opposite. We were slain on the heights. It's the heights here is because what? Because we're talking about the battle on our Gilboa, Mount Gilboa, right? So it was on the mountain.
Whoever has the high ground has such a massive advantage. So
Yeah, we
you
talked
have to
about
climb
that.
up to fight them there.
Yeah, we said that the advantage of Am Israel was up, and the Plishtim has a strong chariots in the plain. When Am Israel ran away on the mountain because it was stronger there, even though they fell, even though they have the advantage and the maybe the experience to fight on the fire. So it was a big failure. This war, this battle against the
They
Plishtim.
didn't have swords, and the other ones are coming at them.
No, but in that point they already had sword. In the beginning of the kingdom of Shaul, they were weak. Now it was already after having a big army, swords and everything. So like we say, the battle was in the legs of the mountain, and then when they start losing, they run away on the mountains. That's what we saw in the description of the battle in the end of Shmuel Aleph. So איך נפלו גיבורים, the word איך, how have the mighty fallen, it's not informative question, of course. So how it's possible, something like that. We also say it's also very common when we are lamenting someone, and the famous, of course, Kinot of Echa. Echa yashva badad, what we read in Tisha B'Av. So it's some say it's also the tone here, the sounds of the word, and there's a lot of, it's really hard to transfer poetry from one language to another. there are a lot of things that you cannot transfer and translate. So here there is a lot of game with the sounds of the letters. Tagidu begat, gidu gat, tagidu begat, right? So it's a mashuach b'shemen, mem shin, mashuach b'shemen. There's a lot of games like that, similar sounds, vowels and vocals that are similar. And here also the word ech is like ach, like someone who is yeah.
It's an exclamation rather than a question.
Yeah, yeah, exclamation, and also the sound of it is the sound of being sorry for someone. How it's happened, ach, I, right? A lot of תבשרו, וגה תבשרו בחוצות, וגלבוע, and it's like vai. Yeah, so I cannot really חלב, חרב, a lot of things like that it's really hard to transfer. So we just try to understand the context and leave all the other uses of literature tools, right, to the Hebrew. So these words, איך נפלו גיבורים, it's like the sentence that repeat. You know, sometimes when there is a song, there is a sentence that repeat. And in the case of lamentations, of eulogies, sometimes it used to be like someone who's saying, and some kind of when you say we have people that sing, that repeat some words, some sentence. Like a choir, like a choir. That, so you see that this word "Ech naflu giburim" repeats 3 times. It starts everything, and then in the end of the first part here, "Ech naflu giburim betoch hamilchama." Here, Yonatan, it's the second part, and then in the end also "Ech naflu giburim." So it's opening and closing and marking also the difference between the first and the second part.
So like the last line of Hatikva.
Yeah,
It's repeated.
No, it doesn't. We repeat maybe, but it's not repeating in the song. Okay, yeah. Anyway, so this is like the sentence that repeat all the time. So David is now is speaking with people. So every sentence almost is speaking with other factor. Here we start at Tzvi Israel. He speaks with the nobles of Am Israel, apparently, according to one of the explanations. Now he's talking with not very clear person. He asked, please don't tell it not in Gat, do not proclaim in the streets of Ashkelon. So it's only 2 of the 5 cities of the Plishtim, but Gat represents the kingdom, the main city, the capital. Ashkelon represents the biggest city. And like, don't say in the palace and don't say in the streets, right? The Gat is in the palace of God, don't say. So of course, he cannot avoid people from telling the news. Of course, he's not controlling what the Plishtim is doing. It's like a symbolic ask. Please, may it be that they won't hear. Why? Because then they will be happy. So when your enemy is happy, it's a bad sign for you. And this is also put it in the context that we say many times that in the ancient times, also recent generation, but especially in this time, victory in a war, it's also religious victory. My God is stronger than your God, right? That's why I won. Right? That's why I defeated you. So when the Plishtim are happy about the victory of Am Israel, it's also Chilul Hashem. It's also like profaning the name of God, who couldn't, Chas v'Shalom, right? So David asked, don't, I forgot to mention something that many comment, there's no name of God in all this song. Like God disappeared, like he didn't answer Shaul, he was hiding himself. In all this context of the war of Gilboa, God hid himself. He didn't appear. He didn't help Am Israel, and he's not mentioned also here, like we are abandoned, Chas v'Shalom, right? So he said, don't tell them to be happy, because this is exactly the symbol of our lost. Let the daughters of Plishtim rejoice, let the daughters of the uncircumcised. We say, they mention that in the Bible, uncircumcised, it's like a cursing, it's like a term to say, to diminish or to mock people. So it's like cursing someone, right? You are uncircumcised. Yeah. So the first calling is to Am Israel, apparently, or to the nobles of Am Israel. The second to the one who is transferring the news, don't transfer the news. And the third one is talking with the nature, who is talking with the mountains of Gilboa, the hills of Gilboa. So hills of Gilboa, let there be no dew or rain on you. So he's cursing them. The place of that we were defeated become a cursed place. Or bountiful fields, for there no, for I will talk about this translation, it's not accurate, I think. Or bountiful fields, for there the shields of warriors lay rejected, the shields of Shaul polished with oil no more. So it's not very clear. The word usdei trumot, it says end. Sdei, fields, trumot, which is not very clear. What is bountiful? Like generous?
A lot of it. It means a lot of things.
A lot
A
of
lot of it.
a lot of
A
things.
bountiful harvest.
So what I think the easier way to read it is the hills of Gilboa, let it be no dew or rain or bountiful fields on you. Right? It's also the thing that shouldn't be on you. You will be cursed. Right? There are other interpretations, but I think this is so when you are cursing the place that forever. Now it's interesting. I don't think it's. Some say if you go on the Gilboa today, so Gilboa it's not one hill. It's a line of hills, one after the other. One of them it's called the Mountain of the Curse, and it was changed after that to Mountain of Shaul. And it's really you can see for the topography there. There is a half part of this mountain. It's almost never rains there. And you see that everything is green over there. It's the north of Israel. It's a valley. It's very green, apart from this part of the mountain. So there is a part of the mountain is like bald. You don't see trees. You don't see grass on it, because so some say this is the curse of David, a sign to remember this defeat, right? So to show like the sorrow and the pain of what's happened, we say this part will always be remembered as a place where Shaul fell. Because over there where like the shield of Shaul didn't work, he didn't answer the expectations. Now also here, bli Mashiach bashamen, so we explain that they used to polish the shields with oil.
Against the arrow.
So yeah, so if the arrow goes, if it's not directly, it won't pass through. It will slip, right? So that's they put the oil
down.
So he said like the shield of Shaul failed him. He wasn't anointed with
The oil on it, because I think the shields were made out of leather in the front of it.
yeah.
Gotta keep leather oil, otherwise it's gonna start cracking.
Okay, maybe that's also, but I understand also it's because it's the arrows sleeping on it.
Yeah.
If it's not, I mean, if it go directly, it will penetrate. But if it's go like a little bit, the oil will help it to, because the end of it was metal, of the arrow. The arrow was the wood with metal in the end, usually. So metal is not, it can slip over the, but also you cannot avoid, remember the word Mashiach Basham. And what is Mashiach also? Mashiach, anointed. The king is anointed with oil, right? So like Bli Mashiach Bashaman, you can say that the shield wasn't Mashiach Bashaman. You can say also Am Israel is without his Mashiach, without his king. Am Israel lost his king in this. So David also here recognizing again, he did that over and over again in the kingdom of in the power of Shaul. The word nigal today in Hebrew today is discussed, but it's not the meaning here. Nigal is something like it's rejected. So some explain like all the soldiers left the shields to run away, or something like that. Sham nigal magen giburim, magen Shaul was favorably Mashiach. He fell away. Nobody's using it because he fell down. So it's like again lamenting for Shaul.
There is a lot of names of towns in Israel, like Sdei Trumot is.
All these places now, all these, there are many names of Yeshuvim in this song that are taken from this song. Sdei Trumot, it's today. It's
Or Magen.
No, Keshet Yonatan. There is Keshet and there is Yonatan. But yes, Sdei Trumot, it's Yeshuv.
Yeah,
It's a settlement near the son of Gilboa, near the Gilboa. Okay, and now he's describing the strength and the power of Shaul of Jonathan. From the blood of slain, from the fight of warriors, the bow of Jonathan never turned back. Meaning, every time that Jonathan shoot an arrow, it's arrived to kill someone. The blood of slain, the fat of warriors. Always, yeah. So we remember that the story of David and Jonathan when David had to run away. So they have these signs. Jonathan is going to shoot the arrow. If it's going farther, it's sign that he should go. Remember all that? We saw from there that Jonathan was expert in the bow. It's also fit because he was from the tribe of Binyamin. And Binyamin were expert snipers. The snipers of Am Yisrael were from Binyamin. So he said, like the bow of Jonathan never failed. It always, when he shot an arrow, it achieved the target. He never missed. And the sword of Shaul never withdraw empty. Remember the sword of Shaul? When David went to fight against Goliath, Shaul offered him his sword, but it was too heavy for David to. So apparently, Shaul was expert in the sword, and Jonathan was expert in the bow. This combination, and bow and sword were always a sign of the power of war. For example, when Yaakov said to his power, אשר לקחתי מיד האמורי בחרבי ובקשתי. I took the Shechem from the hands of the Amori with my sword and with my bow. It was like the main weapon that they used to have. So this is about their strength and power, and then about their personality. Shaul and Jonathan beloved and cherished, like I mentioned before. There wasn't only sometimes you are king because people are afraid of you. Sometimes you are king because people love you. So he said both. Shaul and Jonathan were strong in the battlefield and were loved in their life and in their death. But it's Anavim v'Neimim, beloved and cherished, never parted in life or in death. They were always together, loved each other and loved by others. Now, it's also here, it's like hinting a little bit, we say that Jonathan had several opportunities to leave Shaul and to join David. Jonathan understood that in the fight between David and Shaul, David is the right one and Shaul is the wrong. And he could have left him several times and joined David, but he was loyal to his father. He stayed with him, even in the hard times, even in the battle that was a lost battle from the beginning that we saw, even in moments when he knew that his father is going in the wrong way, he didn't support him in the mistakes. He tried to change his mind, but he never abandoned him, even in his darkest time. So בחיי אותם לא נפרד, הוא never parted in life or in death, מן השרים קלו מהאריות גברו. They were swifter, it's like lighter. Faster. Yes, so the nesher, the eagle, it's not the eagle of America, right? The eagle of Israel, of the Middle East, is other bird, and it's usually the bird that is the heaviest, but it's flying the highest, right? Because it goes very, very up, and it is eating dead animal. So he has good eyes, and it can see like a very, very long, you should find it in one. It's easier to find a living animal because it's moving, right? But dead animal, it's just one place. If you missed it, you missed it, right? So the eagle go very, very high, and you see all but that isn't, so it is considered very, very light. You can understand that as fast, but it's not considered very fast. It's not very fast. It's going slowly because it's dead already. It doesn't have to catch anything, right? So it's not very fast. Meaning kal, you're not heavy. You are agile, right? In doing stuff. You're doing that. So מהאריות גברו is, and this is a power, right? So the eagles represents being agile, being fast, not in the meaning of doing fast, but in the meaning that you're not waiting, you're easy to do, right? You're not heavy until you are moving, until you start. You are right away go to do what you have to do. There's no obstacles or that prevent you from doing what you want. And Arayot, the lions, is the power, the strength. Now we are using this also in the Mishnah Masechet Avot. We say, לעולם יהיה אדם קל כנשר ורץ כצבי וגיבור כארי. Right, we are using this as the character that we should adapt from the animals. We're going to see in Shavuot, we are going to have classes on animals. I believe at least some of the speakers are going to speak about that. The Chachamim say that you should learn character from animals. What you can learn from an ant, what to be a walker, hard working, what you can learn from the pigeon, from the Yonah, to be loyal, etc. So from any animal you can learn some kind of character. So for this is also one of the things that we do. Now, after speaking about Shaul and Jonathan, he's speaking about the consequence for Am Israel. Daughter of Israel, weep over Shaul, who clothed you in crimson and finery, who decked your robes with jewels of gold. So we mentioned the economic success, and also maybe as a result of the military success. So here he finished the first part again with the same sentence, how have the mighty fallen in the tickle of battle. Now, this is national about Shaul and Jonathan and Am Israel. Here is going to continue with a personal one. It took longer than what I thought. Jonathan, now he is talking with Jonathan specifically because of the personal relationship and the personal love. So Jonathan slain on your height, so it's the same verse that we saw before. I grieve for you, my brother Jonathan. You were most dear to me. Your love was wonderful to me, more than the love of women. And then the end of the sentence is again repeating the same sentence. How have the mighty fallen? The weapon of war perished. Now, about this is the second narrative that I want to reject. You may have heard about that. Some say that here David is hinting for homosexual love. I love you more than women. Oh, how it can be? Oh, so yeah, it's homosexuality. But it's mentioned again in the academic research as an option. It was a very famous political conflict in Israel. I don't know if you heard about it a few years ago. I was a child, I don't remember what year it was. One of the member of parliament from the left, Yael Dayan, there was a discussion, a debate about homosexuality, I don't know if marriage or something like that. And she just read that in this context, see, to show like David was homosexual.
And then he get a shower.
I don't know about that, but I know that it was in the parliament in this time was one of the ultra-Orthodox member of parliament. He just started crying. I guess the first time he heard about this interpretation, he was so shocked, and he started crying when he heard she was reading that. So I really think it's out of context. You cannot understand that he's speaking here about homosexual love. I mean, for so many reasons. I'm not talking about the religious only aspect, because we consider David as a righteous person. Of course, this is not allowed according to the Torah, so I'm not guessing that. So, of course, in our tradition, it's not interpreted in this way. But also, I mean, why would David tell everybody out of the closet in front of all the Bible, right?
He was married also.
Yeah, he wasn't married. He was a very married person in many married times. And I mean, apart from that, it doesn't look that he would say that about himself in front of everybody. And I mean, you can understand the word love not as a romantic love. I mean, it's not necessarily the only interpretation of the word love. What?
A buddy relationship.
Yeah, buddy relationship.
In the army with a couple of fellas.
Yeah, and I mean, no, and mother love her child, and father love his child, and you love your pet, and you love your friends, and you love many people, and you love ice cream. So the word love can be understood in many ways, not only in the romantic way. So I really think it's out of context here. I mean, objectively, not only for religion reasons, to say about David something like that. I understand why a rabbi would cry, but I mean, not for the religious reason, only for the simple understanding of the words. The fact that he mentioned Ahavat Nashim, love of women, doesn't mean that this is a comparison here, right? Anyway, I don't think there is any root for that interpretation, but we still should understand. So he is expressing here his love, his great love, the great love that was between him and Jonathan, love that was mentioned before many times during the stories about how it was mainly from Jonathan to David, how Jonathan admired David and loved David. So this is what he's speaking here very clearly. But what is the meaning of the phrase Ahavat Nashim, love of women? We can understand that. Before that, another question. It says, Nifla'ata ahavatcha li. Your love was wonderful to me. So this translation also, it's one way to understand. Your love to me, meaning, can be understood as how I love you, ahavatcha, my love to you, or it can be your love to me, or it can be both. right? So this is the first. So we're talking about, because again, it's always mentioned that Yonatan loved David. It doesn't mention that David loved Yonatan. He was very close to him. He cried about him, etc. They were hugging and kissing when they depart ways from each other, right? But it doesn't mention. So I think that here it's mentioned. I mean, you can understand that in two ways. The love of David to Yonatan, the love of Yonatan to David. And now about the first of the love of women, we can also understand that. So he said, our love, my love to you, or your love to me, or both, was better, was more than the love of women. So we can understand that in three ways, at least, maybe more, but this is the three that I understand. First of all, you can say, I love you more than I love women, in the meaning that the love for women or the desire for women is one of the strongest that we have as men, right? So, I mean, I care to you, or you are important to me more than love of women. So this is one simple way to understand. You can also understand love of women towards you. So not how you love women or how you desire women, but how the women love you. And what is the difference? It's not 100%, of course, but it's usually the love of women towards men is more loyal. It's more emotional. It's not only interest. I mean, also for men, for women. I'm not saying that it's chas v'shalom, right? Of course, men also love women with loyalty and with care and interest, but it's usually more it's the character of women, of the love of women towards the men. It's rated more in this aspect, in this way. Intense, feminine, emotionally. It's more it's less desire, it's more emotionally. So we can say that the loyalty that you showed me is stronger, or that I showed to you is stronger than a wife or a husband, or a lover for a men love, right? And the last interpretation, which I like the most, even though I understand that it's not really the easiest way to understand, women are not only wives, women are also mothers and son and daughters. When you're talking about love of women, what is stronger than love of mother to her child? Right? So he says, our love was stronger even than the love of women, the way the mother loved her child. Right? So this is maybe, I think that it's the nicest, even though it's not the literal understanding of this verse, but I think it's the nicest. Okay, anyway, this is about that. So again, when you read that, I think especially in Hebrew, I don't think it's a fake political opportunity, how do you say, opportunity, when you're using the opportunity, right, to achieve some,
Opportunity.
opportunist. It's look really honest and shows the love of David to Yonatan and to Shaul, the respect to Shaul, and it's that's the reason it became like the formal eulogy of all the soldiers of Am Israel. Well, so here, more or less, the love and respect is over, and we are going to see a few chapters of fights again, of conflicts again. But from that, after that, we're going to see the kingdom of David. Okay. Shall we go?
Thank you very much.